Okay, picture this. You attend a cosplay convention and you run into some really awesome cosplayers. You guys hit it off really well and you decide to swap social medias. So you pull out your phone and you try to look for their social medias. And they do the same thing. However, the convention Wi-Fi signal sucks, so instead you guys are met with a terrible loading screen of doom. Now, all of this can very simply be avoided by creating a cosplay card. In fact, I recommend all cosplayers who regularly attend conventions and events to have a cosplay card. Regardless of whether or not you do cosplay professionally, it is a must-have tool. Now you might be asking yourself, what exactly is a cosplay card? A cosplay card is essentially like a social media or a business card, in which you would just give it out to people at conventions who really like your cosplay stuff and maybe want to check out some of your own work. And in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how you can create your own cosplay card completely for free in Canva. If you're just joining us for the first time here today, hello, hi, and welcome. My name is Star. Otherwise, I'm very simply known as Lady Dead Rabbit here on the internet. I am a professional cosplayer, and here on this channel, I like to focus everything on cosplay-related tutorials and topics. Now let's go ahead and delve right into the tutorial. The first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to go ahead and pull up Canva. And if you don't already have a Canva account, you might want to consider going ahead and making it, since we will be working in this program for today's tutorial. You do not need to worry about paying any subscription for Canva. I personally am currently paying for a subscription on Canva. However, for this tutorial, we're gonna try and stick to everything that's free. So once you have your Canva account set up, you're gonna go right up here to design and we're gonna click business cards. Cosplay cards essentially are like business cards. And I don't know about you guys, but I personally prefer using these portrait business cards. Now I know it says right here that you get about 50 cards and you do need to pay for X amount. However, there's still a way to use Canva to create your cosplay cards and get them totally for free. So because I personally prefer the portrait style versus the landscape, I'm just gonna go ahead and click the standard. And right here, they do have a bunch of different templates. Pretty much anything that has this little king crown on it is a premium membership, which you do need to pay for. But everything that doesn't is a template that you can use for free. You can also click templates right here and check out other things. Now I'm having a little bit of trouble finding portrait style business cards, which is my preference. So I'm just gonna search right up here. You can add filters to different styles if you would like, if you're looking for something very specific. And I would say this one right here works pretty good. And as you can see, it's a totally free template. So we're gonna go ahead and click on that. And then right up here, once we click on this, we're gonna be presented with the different standards of paper. Now, if you don't own a printer, then unfortunately you will need to go through Canva's printing service to print out your business cards. And it does have a nice variety of different printing paper options for your business card. For my cosplay cards, I actually do use Canva's services to print them off. This is just what one of them looks like. It's actually a really good quality. I think the color, I think the flexibility of it, everything is really nice for it. So I would recommend that you do print with Canva, but you don't actually have to. So for the sake of this, we're just gonna go ahead and customize the template. Now there are 3 key elements that you need to keep in mind for whenever you're creating your cosplay cards. Number 1, you want something that is going to show off your cosplay work. And honestly, the best way to show off your cosplay work is by actually displaying a photo of your cosplay content. So I'm gonna go right over to uploads, and then I'm gonna upload a file from my desktop. And I'm just gonna choose one of my Marvel cosplays. I would say this Gwen Stacy one will probably work just fine. And I'm gonna go ahead and click on the background here, hit delete, and then I'm just gonna throw this photo here. And because it just went right over some of the text, I'm gonna click position and I'm gonna put it to the back. Now, if you have any sort of logo for your content, I would say slapping that on the front of the card is probably the best way to grab someone's attention. I personally do not, so I'm just gonna go ahead and delete that. And I'm gonna go ahead and put in my username handle. then I'm just gonna change the text color because it does kind of get lost in this photo. So I'm just gonna make it white. And that's honestly not bad. Whenever choosing cosplay photos to use for your card, I recommend using something that is of a relatively recognizable character. I also recommend something that isn't super cluttered. So I chose this photo because the background is super simple. It's literally just a blank wall with like a little bit of an RGB light behind. Now this is certainly the part of the card that you can be the most creative with. The back, however, needs to have the most important information on it. Now, if you want to do just a one-sided card, that's totally fine. For example, if you're wanting to do this completely for free at home with just a regular standard printer, then you may want to consider just doing a one-sided card design, in which you can go ahead and just pull up your username all the way up to the top. And I'm gonna go ahead and go all the way to uploads, and I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pull up my QR code for my link tree. Now, ideally, whenever I'm creating my cosplay business cards, I normally will put my QR code on the very back of my business cards since I do go through Canva to print them. But if you're just doing this at home with a standard printer and you don't want to spend time gluing two pieces of paper together, then you'll definitely want to put your QR code on the front. And I would say don't do what I did here. Choose a photo that's a bit lighter, something that the QR code is going to be a little bit more noticeable on. And if you don't know how to get a QR code for your link tree, I'm going to show you real quick. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pull this up, and I'm gonna pull up my link tree. So right here, I am in the login page for my link tree here. And you just wanna click link shortener, and you should be able to get a free QR code for your link tree right here. And if you don't have a link tree for your cosplay content, I cannot recommend that you create one enough. A link tree is essentially like a little platform where people can find all of your social media pages. You'll simply just take the link handle here and you'll just put it in the bio of all of your social platforms. You can customize it to fit whatever your needs are. See, mine just has a photo of one of my cosplays, has a short little description of what I do, as well as all the social platforms that I'm the most active on. And if you don't know how to set up a link tree or customize it, then stick around for next week, as that will be my next tutorial. Now, going back to the cosplay card, this is actually all that you really need to do. If you want to add a little bit more, like if you wanted to add an email for people to have or a phone number, you can. I personally don't do those things because I do not want people to have that information. However, if you wanted to go to the elements page and you wanted to do a little sticker of the Instagram handle to let people know that's where you're active on, you can just find a little sticker here and drag and drop it. Obviously, I would use something that pops a little bit more. And you can really do that for all of your other social medias if you want to. And of course, if you have different usernames across your different socials, you can just list them out somewhere on your page. I, for example, always go by Lady Dead Rabbit on the internet. However, depending on the platform, my username handle is a little bit different with the punctuations. But in general, I'm mostly known as Lady Dead Rabbit, so I'll just slap that on my business card. Like I mentioned a moment ago, if you are printing through Canva, I personally would recommend that you actually put the QR code, all of this stuff on the back of the card, so that the front of the card can really display your cosplay content. Now, once you are done customizing this page, and let's say you don't want to pay Canva, you just want to print it at home for yourself, you can go ahead and delete this back of the card since this will just be the one that you're using. And then we'll go over to the share button, and then you can just download it here, and then you can print it in whatever format you want. Like if you want it to be JPEG, PNG, PDF, whatever works best for your printer. I'm just gonna go ahead and download it as a PNG. And since I am just gonna assume that you guys are gonna be printing this off at home on your own personal regular printer, I'll go ahead and pull up Google Docs. And then we're just gonna start with a blank page. And then we're gonna go ahead and insert and upload from the computer. And then right here is our professional card. We're gonna have to grab that. And then you just wanna scale this down to whatever size you want the card to be. Now, this is gonna be a little bit tricky because we have to assume that this is going to be just a normal size piece of paper. I think most printer papers are usually like 8 by 11 inches. And typically business cards are like 1 by 3 or 4 inches. So you're gonna kind of eyeball this. You might have to do multiple different print tests. And once you do have this, you can just go ahead and start copying and pasting. It's gonna take a while, but you wanna completely fill up the entire page with your business card. Now, the amount of cosplay cards that you wanna make depends on how big the convention is. If I'm going to a big convention, then I like to try and have at least a little over 100 cosplay cards, which I know seems like a lot, but you would be surprised the amount of people who are gonna wanna get a hold of this whenever you're at conventions. But if you're going to a smaller, more local event, I would say 50 if you don't want to carry around a giant stack. And once you have this entire page filled up, you can go ahead and just download this as a PDF. Now, if you don't have a link tree and you want to set one up for your own cosplay content, then stick around and subscribe for next week's video as I'll actually be showing you guys how you can set up a link tree for your own cosplay content. And if you like this video and you want to stick around on my channel a little bit longer, I'm going to put some videos on screen that I would suggest that you guys check out. Let me know some of your thoughts and opinions down below, subscribe for next week's video, and be sure to share with me your own cosplay card designs if you do use this tutorial to help you. See you guys around!